We're joined by candidate TJ Smith. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank y'all for being flexible.
Uh, Flexibility is the key here. Let me ask you right from the get-go. What makes you the best candidate in this race for the Democratic nomination for mayor?
I'm a non-politician who's well-rounded, who's seen things, and really has worked in a really non-partisan way from a background of being a police commander, not really concerned about Democrat or Republican politics, really concerned about addressing the issues of the community. So I've gone out and learned a lot about, or a little bit about a lot of things, and I want to take all of my collective experiences into City Hall because I think people are just tired of the same old, the status quo. The political promises of what we're going to do, and then next thing you know, we continuously fall short because people have different aspirations of why they want to be in positions, whether it's a redemption show, whether it's because they want to have some status. I just want to do what's right for the citizens of Baltimore. Sadly enough, I've seen it up close and personal, of course, from my time with the Baltimore Police Department, reporting on literally thousands of murders, unfortunately, during my tenure, and also seeing, unfortunately, what happened to my younger brother during my tenure there. When you understand this epidemic that we've been going through in a different way, it makes you want to address it in a different way. But we know that it's much more than crime, it's opportunity, and it's gotten much more difficult now as we look at what we're dealing with this coronavirus impact and how we're going to emerge out of it. And it can't be politics as usual that gets us out of this.
All right, let me go back just a moment there, and let's go back to the problem with crime in the city. And you've spent your career in law enforcement. You say you have to think differently. What can you do that is so different? It has been many things have been tried, and the problems remain.
Yes, well, we have to be bold and we have to be unapologetic about what we do. What I've seen over the years is we're trying to be people pleasers and make sure everyone is happy instead of making decisions for the whole. And we have to actually be decisive about doing things. I haven't shied away from the fact that violent repeat offenders need to go to jail. And some of them might need mandatory sentences in order to correct their behavior, or at least be off of the streets for a period of time when we know that they're prone to the violence. We know that is who is committing the crime. I've been unapologetic with saying that we can't just look at arbitrarily reducing how we fund the police department just because it sounds good and we know we have to pay for other things. This city is one of the most violent cities in America. So we have to make sure we're holding the police department accountable, but we're also holding the people on the streets who are committing this crime accountable, and we can't shy away from that. I've seen a lot of shying away from that over the years, and we have to just really get focused on actually doing something about it. And it works both ways. We have to work across the aisle to get bills passed that protect the everyday common citizen from the violent predators that have really wreaked havoc over the last several years in Baltimore.
Let me focus into, I mean, this is a huge problem. Now you've got a whole brand new problem with all of the issues that have basically come up in trying to fight the COVID-19
Yes.
pandemic. The city is facing enormous challenges with that. How do you tackle that?
Well, first of all, I hope and pray that the current administration is already working on a task force, and that task force needs to be rolled out before we get over the hump. We should be working on a task force, and the business owners should be part of this as to how we're going to emerge. This is, we have the best hospital in the world. The world is getting their numbers, their everyday numbers from Johns Hopkins Hospital. We should be working hand in glove with them, along with business owners, educational leaders, and economists to work on our rollout plan of how we're going to emerge out of the crisis that we're in. That task force should be set up today, and we should be working today, whether it's Zoom conferences or what have you, as to how we're going to emerge. I look at things like this. We have a fire marshal who says 200 people in this facility is the max. Well, guess what? We need a coronavirus marshal now. How many people in this space is the safe amount to be here? And what distance do we need to keep these tables apart from one another where we can safely bring people into this restaurant? We can safely bring people into this business, because we have to get the economy going again to have people working. So we have to, again, use this opportunity to really refocus in on those areas that we know are the most detrimental in our city, which are the areas that have had the pre-existing conditions, which are our less fortunate communities. And we already know that. We knew it existed. We didn't need data to tell us that.
Last question for you. You win the primary. This is just a sort of a supposition here. and you win in the general election, what is the number one issue your first day when you take office?
Well, there are two at this point: crime and emerging out of the coronavirus pandemic. That's bottom line. We have to do it because if we look at what this coronavirus pandemic can cause, it's a loss of opportunity. And opportunity is what has driven the crime in Baltimore. The education piece is also the third tier of this, but the immediate things that we have to address are crime and the coronavirus emergence to make sure people still have opportunity. Because if people don't have opportunity, they're going to turn to a life of crime, which is going to perpetuate the epidemic that we've had in the background of this pandemic for many, many years.
TJ Smith, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. And thank you all for being flexible. Be well.